It's a 2004 120 Prado with 685,000 kilometers. And it's a V6, 4-litre V6 petrol engine. We're having a bit of a look around before it goes across the Simpson desert. We haven't worked on or serviced this before. Well, I don't remember that we have. We haven't worked on this before, have we? No. No, first time bringing it in to check out what's going to let it down, what spares are needed for the trip. And we're just having a look around. One of the first things we've noticed is, see the bit of pink down there? Well, we've got a bit of pink here as well, but look, it's had an engine. The engine was replaced at about 580,000 kilometers, always serviced at a Toyota dealer. So the engine's done about 100,000 Ks. We believe it was a rebuild, so usually these things don't go down too well, but you know, maybe this one's okay. But you can see there's coolant trail there. And if we come across this side, if we can get the light in there, could be hard, but you can see that little bit in there. Hard for you to see. We can see it a bit better with the light without a camera. So that's one of the concerns at the moment. We're going to have a look around underneath. Now the wiring, there's a lot going on. There's a fair few wires, but we're don't see immediate threat at the moment. There's a lot of corrugated split tubing. You know, some of these connections are a bit questionable in the way the wires are, you know, the terminal facing one way and bent back the other. So not ideal, but it's not the worst I've seen, but I think it needs a bit of a tidy up at some stage. But it's been like that for 680,000 kilometers, so why would it cause a problem in the next 10,000? That is one way to look at it. So we've got to carefully consider before we make recommendations here. Anyway, not looking too bad here. Let's have a look underneath and see what we can find. So I just refitted that wiring loom back onto there. Looks like the tape's a bit damaged as well. It's been taped up. I don't know what's happened there. The whole wiring loom was just hanging there, and this still is. The bracket's broken. Trying to figure out why that would be. And that wiring loom, what? It just doesn't look right. What's with all the tape around the clip and everything? Anyway, there it is, fixed. It's just sitting there. You just got to sit it the right way. See, this is a special removable one. You just sit it the right way. That's it. Fixed. Not. Nearly 700,000 Ks on the original wheel bearings. You got to be kidding me. So you can get lucky sometimes. So over the 700,000 Ks, obviously the vehicle's had a bit of maintenance. It's had this OME suspension put in over 10 years ago, so it's done hundreds of thousands of Ks. Still drives all right, doesn't it? Yeah. Drives all right. So there you go, made in Australia. So a bit of a plug for the longevity of the OME. You can see how old it is. You can see recently it's had a new drive belt. We can't see any oil leaks. We just got that bit of a coolant leak, which if you see down the bottom here, see that bolt in the middle of the picture, there's a bit of pink there. So there's a telltale sign if you missed it up the top. So there's a number of places you can see this leak that I would say has been leaking for a little while. We'll show you up top again. We've got the cover off once we get back up there. I'd say maybe some work's been done on the rack. The rack's been replaced. Does that ring a bell? Yeah, because it's, I'd say an aftermarket one. It's nice and clean. The boots are too clean, all that sort of thing. So rack's been replaced. It looks like it's got, there's no way at 700,000 Ks these boots and drive shafts would look this good. You normally get that bit of grease oozing out. So they've been replaced with genuine, which is the good news, replaced with genuine. The engine's got no oil leaks, so that's good. Let's have a look at these lower control arms, the usual cracks. They're not there, so I'd say they've been replaced as well, the bushes or the arms, would that be right?
Correct.
Yep, so, okay, yep, they're in good condition now. They probably weren't done that long ago, so that's good. It's all bone dry as far as oil leaks go. Now, one surprising thing, we're looking at the automatic transmission. It's got the ARB protection here now. Now, just to be clear, this vehicle has not travelled the outback. It hasn't done all the big outback trips. It's done a lot of highway, sort of like blacktop, a lot of, you know, blacktop kilometres. And in recent years, it does a bit of off-road, so it's sort of more getting into the off-road. That's why it's got this protection here now. But just looking at the automatic transmission, the pan, you know, they say sealed for life. And to be quite honest, looking at that drain bolt, my money's on that's never been out. I'm going to go around the other side. We'll have a look at a couple more. That pan gasket looks way too... This is a 2004. Right, that pan gasket looks way too good condition and the bolts look original as anything. And this check plug here, let's have a good look at it. I believe that hasn't been out. There's not a mark on it. There's not a trace of any oil or anything. And the other one is the filler plug, which you might be surprised. But yeah, that just, I don't believe it's ever been out. So that means, you know, the transmission I love, the A750F 5-speed auto, 700,000 Ks without any maintenance is my current belief, and I look forward to getting the vehicle back at some other stage and doing to drop that transmission all out. So if you want to see that, subscribe and turn the bell on. This is how good these transmissions are. They're just too good, really. Okay, once again, the fuel has 700,000 Ks of on-road use, no leak at the moment, but as you can see, pretty rock hard. It's crushable, but quite stiff. So that's lucky that it hasn't leaked, but mainly because it hasn't done the off-road. And just because a lot of them leak doesn't mean they'll all leak. We highly recommend with the 120 Prados, the LC120s, that if you haven't replaced that yet, you replace it. And we think they may have upgraded the rubber so that you never have to replace it again. Pretty straightforward to get to. We've got details of it in other videos. One of the clamps, the one at the tank, you have to reuse, as it only comes with one clamp on, as dumb as that is. So you've got the new clamp up the top there that he's tightening up now, and the one at the tank at the other end there, middle of the picture. Yeah, you just need to reuse it. All right, just having a look at the back of the vehicle, the rear fuel tank. So I said it does a bit of off-road now, and you can see it's been pushed in quite a lot. It's gone over a big rock or something like that, I'd say. Reminds me of a time I was in Talangi State Forest, and it was raining, it was muddy as anything, and everyone was getting hung up on this rock. I was in a 03 1KZ 120 Prado, and I said, I'm not getting stuck over this on this rock where everyone else did, because I don't want to get out in the rain. So a bit of momentum over that area right where I was taking notice they were getting stuck. And the rock, it actually, all the way from the front of the vehicle, under the control arm, rolled all the way along. It actually bananaed the lower trailing arm over here at the bottom of the picture, and came up underneath here. And mate, the reaction from the person behind me, mate, this boulder come out the back of your car was about 500 mil in diameter, you know? And I reckon this is the sort of damage it did. And I removed the cover, I pushed it out, and the tank wasn't too bad. It actually, it looks pretty bad here, but hopefully this is not too bad like my one was back in the day. And just straighten out the cover, because you're meant to have a fair bit of clearance. You can see here, there's up to 10 to 20 millimeters, depending where and how much it's been pushed in. But over here, you've got metal guard, sharp edges, rubbing against metal tank. And once you get onto the corrugations and you're banging that around, that's something that could rub through. I don't know how much it would take and how long it's, but you can see it's been rubbing there anyway. That's that sharp point right there. So 5 bolts, 2 at this side, 2 at this side, and 1 up the middle there, and that comes off fairly easily. You might have a lot more trouble getting it back on once you straighten it out. And depending what you find there, whether you want to drop the tank, maybe obviously it all need to be cleaned up first, and from the top at the inside you may need to push it out if you want to get your fuel capacity back. This is like I said, we're checking out for a Simpson desert trip. A little bit of damage on the side of the tailpipe, that's all right. So we haven't seen a lot more. The tyres are in fair condition for the trip. Brakes are okay. Suspension hasn't got any leaks. It's pretty old, but it's not going to stop the vehicle. The rear upper trailing arms, we can see quite a few cracks and whatever from the flexing around over the years, and probably recent times. Hard to demonstrate, but you can see in there, you can see a little bit. Not too bad, again, not going to stop the vehicle, but see, just a bit of bit more than the usual. So there's, you know, not a lot to see here that's going to stop the vehicle. I'm pretty happy with everything. Right, we've got the cover off here so you can see where the leak's coming from in there. Bit of an abnormal leak, isn't it? Anyway, one of the most important things you can have, you know, because the question is, you know, what needs to be done, and what spares should I take, this sort of thing, for a trip like crossing the Simpson. And one of the first things would be RAC or NRMA total care, so that you can get, you know, get out of there. Don't travel alone. If you've got people with you, then if something's wrong with the vehicle, you can at least tow it out, drag it out to where the tow truck will pick it up, that sort of thing. is important to having that cover. And some sort of scan tool so you can scan codes. If you get an engine light, and this vehicle's got an engine light on, we're going to have a quick look at that. May or may not be in the video. We're going to look at a few things here. Not everything's included, it's just a short video. Hopefully you learned something. If you did, smash that like button. But having something to scan, and you know, the AutoFix 3210 from Trevor Ryan's an easy one. It can stay plugged in all the time, and you just use the app on your phone, and it's got the data on there. So if you've got no internet and it says P0400 or whatever it is, you can look up and it tells you what area to look at. You may be able to have a hope, or if you need to contact someone, you can tell them what the code is and they can tell you what it probably might likely be, what you can do to fix it, bypass it, or whether it'll be okay to drive in the meantime, or whether it, like a P0400, I'm going, good code to have, just keep driving. But anyway, just clear it and keep driving. But anyway, different codes mean different things. We need to know the number. Without the number, we don't know anything. Okay. The other thing with this vehicle, as we mentioned, 700,000 Ks almost on the original front wheel bearings. They can go bad very quickly. This is a testament to how long they can last on road, but I'd suggest that they're very dry. There's not much grease left, and it could be one of the ones that goes bad quickly. So I'll be changing the front wheel bearings as prevention. He mentions it's got a bit of a whine in it. If it sounds like a diff whine, it could be either your front wheel bearings or your rear axle bearings. They're the two things that fail, not diffs usually. That being said, it's got e-lockers in it, so someone's worked on the front and rear diffs. Who knows what they've done, so it could be possible that there's a problem with the diff because Toyota didn't put it together last at the factory. Somebody's worked on it, so there's lots of possibilities there. Guys, that's the video. We've had a bit of a look around, tried to show you a few things and talked about what an awesome Prado, 700,000 Ks. A little bit more tidying up to do. Hopefully goes well on the trip, and bada bing, we're out of here.